Alright, and we are back. Internet went out, so here we go, back where we're at. I just finished out dimensioning the circles, one of those things, just going to extrude this out, and we should be good here. Nope, not there. Well, I have it on all, so let's just flop that and deselect that. There we go. Next question is, do I want to throw a slider in here, some slots in here to adjust this in and out? And I probably should. So let's just roll back here, toss our slots in, and then continue. Slots here and here. Whoops. It doesn't matter which one actually gets tangent. Either the line or the circle can get tangent. Although that should not be tangent to the 2 millimeters. That would be incorrect. And then just give ourselves, let's say, like 3 millimeters is all we really need, because in theory these placements are correct at this point, because I threw that in here, threw the mounting plate jig in there, and the rest of this is obviously typical stuff. Just gonna have to redefine this extrusion to include those holes, and we're back to where we're at, and just need to align the micro switch, which honestly just needs to be moved up is the only thing it needs to happen here. So because the holes are more or less in the correct space, again with the exception of the slots. There we go. Pretty. Capture position, and now we can start working on the lever arm. So we'll turn the frame back on, and I don't think I need to turn the extrusion on. I think we can work without that, but what I'm thinking here is that maybe we attach the lever, the standoff for the lever, a slot where it slides and rotates around. Maybe we toss that back over here. Yeah, I mean on the bottom part here. I was originally going to do it from the top part, but it might be easier to keep it separate. So we will go ahead and do that. Also, the other thing to mention is, actually, if we're going to do that, then I should extend this out in theory. The other thing to mention is that we don't have very much else to do on this design, which is unfortunate. The internet went out. Let's see, I'm going to project this guy. So it's one of these things where I kind of want to get other work done at this point, because this redesign was not anticipated. I kind of want to get some other work done on some other projects. So I'm thinking of skipping the throttle right now and coming back to it. So that's in theory, that's that guy right there. I'm thinking, whoops, that is not what I want. The funny thing is that I didn't think it was that close. It doesn't really, oh, I guess I dragged this out. That's why, okay. So I'll just throw, let's see. How do we want to put the lever arm? Do we want the lever arm on the inside or the outside? I guess we want it on the inside. So what I should do is, rather than do that right now, I'll draw my little standoff for the lever, for the pivot point in this guy. And it's one of those things, probably it's going to have a 3 millimeter bolt going this way through it, and then 2 millimeter wall on either side. And we'll make it 3 millimeter wall, so that's going to be 9 millimeters. So that's how I'll dimension it out this direction. And then one of those things, this can just be wall thickness right here. And then it is just a matter of where we want to place it. Again, we have some room for adjustment with how the hits it with the lever itself, how the lever looks, so that we can adjust how it interacts with the micro switch down here. We have that flexibility. So I'm thinking maybe we just align it with the front of this here. So I'm going to actually, I've got this projected line right here. I think I might just sit it back a little bit from there, like 2 millimeters from there, and call that good. And then it's just a left right here, and this is just going to be 3 millimeters for our lever. This is our lever thickness, is what this is right here, more or less. Actually, you know what, let's leave ourselves a little bit of room, and I can always pad it out with washers if I need to, or change the size of the lever. Actually, since I planned on 3D printing the peg up here, it may be better. It shouldn't really matter. I will go ahead and call it 5 millimeters just to give myself a little bit of playroom, but it really shouldn't matter, I don't think. So let's go ahead and extrude that up. Need this guy. From object, obviously, and so here's the deal. I'm going to slot the whole entire thing. The only question is how high do we need it to be, is the only real question remaining right now, and that is something I don't know. So I'm going to go, let's see, let's start out right there and we'll see what happens here. The chances are pretty good that that is too tall. Nah, you know what? I'm instead going to go to object here and then just add a wall on the top side. And we'll start here and we'll see what happens with that. Again, I'd have to do a bunch of drawing, I think, on the scrap paper to try to figure out what this should be. And even at that point, as I stated before, it's not necessarily clear whether or not it matters, because we can always adjust the lever arm itself to make up for any mistakes. So, how do I want to center this? I think I'm just going to center it like this today, is how I'm going to center it, just using that reference line right there. And then the slot width will be 3 millimeters, as we stated before. Okie dokies. And then come up to the retainer. Toss my peg on the back there, and then we can throw the lever on after that. I want a construction plane. There we go. And this is outside, or I guess right side of retainer. Okie dokies. And we'll just put it dead center. Actually, you know what? Let me look at it really quick. See what kind of spacing we got around it. And because this is going to be 3D printed, I'm pretty sure, I actually want to make this like, well, let's see what we got. So we need preferably minimum of 2 millimeters here. I'm going to delete this guy and then make this tangent and see what we end up with. And that is no longer center, which is interesting, right? Oh, we ended up with 2 lines here. Silly fusion. Quinkydink. There we go. So what is your diameter now? Your diameter is 4. I'm happy with that. I am happy with 4 millimeters. And again, this will go out. I may as well just take it to the inside of this wall here. And then we can go ahead and I think it makes sense for it to be a child of the slider. So we'll do that. New component, lever, sketch from that plane that we just made, wherever that is on the retainer. There we go. Projected that out, and then we will do. This actually is a bit tight at this point on the top side here, as you can see, because if I actually do the full 2 millimeters, that's rubbing against the top here. I probably should have given myself some leeway, which means that this is going to be a little less than 4 millimeters. I think we're just going to live with our mistakes for right now. And then we need to mock up a pivot point in here. So my thought was that the pivot point back here would be at the top when it's at the all the way back, was my idea. So we will draw that like that. And, well, let me do this. Let me draw from this direction, just so that I don't hit anything, don't accidentally clip anything. And then we can turn some of this stuff off so that we're not seeing it. So that, and that. There we go. Then tangent, just making a long lever with a pivot point up here. That is then also actually, I guess I draw this line in here to make sure that this is the same size as this, so that these sides stay parallel is what I should do. So there's that, there's that. And again, the end here we can actually adjust. Now, staring at it right now, I can tell you that we're already right there on the, whatchamacallit. Already on the micro switch. So as this part goes up, right, it can't go forward right here. So it's going to have to go down. And that was my intention, but the micro switch might be too tall. We might actually have to bring this whole entire thing up more in order to make this pivot, is the issue. Let's see, the other way to go about this would be, I guess, so this I have tangent here. What if we change the size of it? Well, I can't really change the size of it, it's the problem, because this is 3 millimeter. I can change it a little bit. I can taper it a little bit. Okay. So instead of having this being equal to that, this 3 millimeter bolt that we have in here, I'll do the 2 millimeters here, so that brings us in a little bit. Gives us a little bit more play. Whoops, that is not tangent. Right. So the last thing we can play with here is the shape. I don't know how much it's going to help us. So the problem is, if I'm thinking about this correctly, is even if I pick this guy up, so come down here and raise this up, I don't believe that actually helps us. Not that guy. This extrusion right here. So let's go up to 30. So 13. I'm just going to do it that way. You know what? It might actually help us. Okay. I was thinking it wasn't going to help us, but it actually does look like it does. So as this comes up here, let me put the frame on so that we can see. So as it slides up here, it does give it more room to twist around that point. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Okay. Fair enough. So what I'm going to do now at this point, I'm going to make this guy equal to the guy in the middle. And I'm not actually on the sketch. It's kind of silly. You shouldn't be able to drag sketch objects while not inside of a sketch. That seems a bit incorrect to me, but what do I know? Alright, there we go. No, you shouldn't snap in there. Huh. Is there a reason why it snapped in there? Oh yeah, because I'm tapered. That is why. So we actually would need to make these two separate lines is what we would need to do. Because it's tapered, so it wants to keep on tapering all the way to the end. The next question is, does that necessarily matter? So if I tangent this, get rid of this equals first, and then tangent that is what I meant to do. There we go. That's what I was attempting to achieve. We can determine, you know, obviously this circle gets larger and smaller as we go in and out because it's following the taper line. We can decide where we want that first and then go from there. So let me extrude this out in that case and turn these guys to construction lines. There is that. So that's our lever arm for the time being. And I gave myself 3 millimeters. Again, it can slide left and right a little bit more. Yeah, it can be new body because we're already in the lever component. Alright. And now I want to create a joint here and see how this thing is moving. So that and the retainer. Revolve. There we go. And then I also want, as built joint, that and that. And this is a slider along that. Okay. Maybe it wants the inside edge. No, okay, it just doesn't comprehend what we're doing here. Okay. Alright, I will do this manually then. So let me come up here and then pivot you down to, so that should be in there at this point. So at the very top, as you can see, we are way past the micro switch. So what I guess I should do is move the center of this out to be in line with this so that it's going straight down when it hits. I guess that's the easiest way to solve this problem. And then this, again, could have probably done math to figure out how long that needs to be, but we're going to just guess and check to get this thing done and made for the time being. So let's reset these guys. I'm going to set this distance to, I want this angle though on it, 19, okay. And then we need to come back to the micro switch mount and slide you out. So let's see. Boop, 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 boo. Is it this guy? Is this the guy that I... Yeah, that's how I set vertical. So I actually want to take the midpoint of this guy and have this midpoint coinkydink on my mounting plate line right here. And do that. And at this point, we'll clear that tangent and just bring him collinear with this because this is the new highest part on our model. And there we go. So let us go back to, I'll just go to the top and start sliding. See how that looks. So all the way up to the top. Get something a little bit more realistic. 38. Yeah, 38 is fine. And then swing you down so that you are inside of that. Alright, so that is definitely hitting at this point, maybe hitting too much. And if we look at the line, back to I said we should be getting vertical, we're not getting vertical right now. So I misevaluated that one. This sketch back here, rather than this being, this line being center point to this, I guess I should have this line center point to the projection of this top side right here, and I want the bottom side. I think this is the line I want. So that is, I think that's, where is that? I think that's this line right here. Yeah, that's that line right there. So we'll change this guy and have him quinky dink with that line. And we'll check again. Just double checking at the beginning before we start moving things that this didn't move out of the way. Drag you up, 38 I believe is what I decided last time. And this pivot right here, down so that it is in line with the slider. Minus 72. Close enough, right? And now it is in a good place because we can always slide this micro switch forward. So it is in a good place. We just need to, at this point, look at this and say, okay, this is only like 5 millimeters is all we need. Again, could do math here, but I am avoiding that because that will take up more time. So we'll come back up to the slider, adjust this, make this 5 millimeters. I guess that's right. Maybe I called that incorrectly, but let's take a look at it. See what happens. And unfortunately, if I could, well, I haven't tried motion linking these two, but motion linking would make sense. And this was like, I thought it was 78, but I guess it was 73 minus. Okay, yeah, so now it's clearing and it's still connecting with that guy, so we are good. And yeah, I mean, I could make it maybe 6 millimeters just for that extra little bit if we want to. 6 or 7. I'll go 6 just to be on the safe side because again, it is just clipping that the leaf right there. So we should now be good, I believe. What's this last sketch that I have randomly sitting here? I guess that's the sketch I started for the lever arm and then I totally abandoned it. So we will just delete that and move on with our life. Turn that sketch off and add a little bit more color. Let's see, we have those in the design already, so plastic. Let us find some more colors. Green, we don't have green yet. Where is my matte? Matte green. And for the bottom can be red. Should not be red actually because the micro switch is there. So that will not be red. Let's go white plastic. There we go. Alrighty, and then we just need to turn something back on. Body, there we go. And that looks to be everything. So on this design, just to recap, we have this bolt going through here with a spring on it, a compression spring. That compression spring gets compressed as we go up here, which wants to reset the device, which is the goal. And then we have this lever arm here, which we're using to knock this micro switch to trigger the micro switch to actuate the micro switch, however you would like to word it. And that is that. Yeah, alright. So like I said, the interruption kind of stunk because I was really in the mood to move on to another project because one of those things we've been leaving projects half done and I'm not really comfortable with that. It's nice having so many projects so that we can have variety on the stream, but I am not particularly happy with not having any of them done at this point. I would like to have at least some of them done, so I will be cutting the stream here. I want to do some more prep work before I start another stream since work has to get done. So I'm not going live immediately. I do have D&D tonight, so there will be no late night stream. So it's a question of whether or not I don't hop on between dinner and D&D. It depends how deep into the other prep work I get. So that is the state of things and where we're at with the channel. It's pretty cool to have two different versions of this, two different design versions of this same mechanism. I do like that, having the variety, and we get to compare and see which one feels better and etc. So that is cool. I'm happy we did this. A little unhappy, as I said, that the stream got cut and we ended up with this half-an-hour add-on section. But it is what it is. That happens. So if you've been watching, thank you as always. And just like always, I hope you have a great and wonderful day, afternoon, or evening, wherever you're in the world. And I will catch you next time.